My mic wasn't muted, I swear. Never was. TJ, stop laughing in the background. I got TJ here with me today.
What's
What's happening, TJ?
Oh man,
We didn't have TJ on last week because I was busy. Took a couple days off to go fishing with some buddies. We caught some trout. That was a lot of fun. How have you been, TJ? How was your week? I'm sure you got a lot to talk about. You didn't get to talk about it the past week. So.
I'm sure I'll start rambling about something here soon. But yeah, things are going good. This graveyard schedule's got my sleep schedule all upside down. Trying to be awake on my weekends during normal human hours, and then get my sleep schedule flipped back around to work through the week. So
I know TJ's scared me the past few times I've had him on the show because I'm like, oh shit, is he gonna wake up? Yeah.
Dude,
I'm glad we could have you on today, and then we should be joined by Joey, but he's trying to pass a level on some video game. Oh, there he is.
Look at him go.
Looks like he is joining. Good, because there was so much news that happened over the weekend.
Dude, wild weekend. Like
I don't even know what we get into first.
I'm excited to talk about it.
Wait, Acidic said that bass is nuts? What are you talking about?
The bass in your song.
The bass?
Your,
the bass.
Your intro song.
Oh, I love my intro song.
Dude, I don't know if I've heard it all the way to get like the slow piano at the very end.
Oh, I love the piano at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
The beat drop is amazing, and then the piano at the end. I love it. AI is really something, isn't it? But we are joined by Joey. Hello, Joey. Joey's got a nicer camera than me now? What the fuck?
I don't have a nicer camera than you. It's just the same old iPhone I've been using.
Okay, well, why is it extra crispy today?
I've been using it. I've been using my PC instead of my Mac. I don't know why it looks crispy today. It might just be the lighting.
Oh no, yeah, maybe I need to fix.
Look at us look bad over here. Joey in high def.
Joey in high definition today. I think Joey needs first chair. He looks extra nice today. There we go.
Wow, what a privilege.
There we go. The privilege of Joey. Anyway, what's up, Joey?
I said the hot seat.
The hot seat. Man, so do you guys want to go like straight into some hard news, or you guys want to do some like lighthearted stuff first?
Ease me into it.
You want to get eased into it? It's a Monday.
Yeah.
You want to start something easy, okay? We're gonna start on the Sesame Street. Everyone's talking about Sesame Street because, of course, if you didn't know already, it is Pride Month. Yay!
Dude, it's my birthday month, and I hate that it's taken over by Pride Month.
What's taken over by Pride Month?
It's my birthday is this month.
When's your birthday?
It's the 23rd.
Oh, okay. So towards the end of the month. Well, you gotta have pride in your birthday, TJ. Come on, say it out loud. So what's called? But so obviously it's Pride Month. We're gonna see a bunch of companies talking about the Pride crap. But Sesame Street, why is Sesame Street talking about it? It's supposed to be a kids programming. And it says, on our street, everyone is welcome. Together, let's build a world where every person and family feels loved and respected for who they are. Happy Pride Month.
Except for conservatives.
Except for conservatives. And before I have these other clips I want to show, the first tweet, right? It's nothing crazy. It's literally just a guy tweets at Grok. He says, at Grok, add hot dogs to all the hands. And Grok added hot dogs to all the hands.
The internet's a wild place.
Oh, wait, it gets better. And then he says, it doesn't want to pop it up. Okay, I'm not going to click further. It gets risky. He basically he has it add more to it. It gets worse. But anyway, so Libs of TikTok went to criticizing them. Libs of TikTok reposted a video of previous clips. This with Dr. Sanjay Gupta and Sesame Street. Sanjay Gupta is known for not wanting to debate about the COVID vaccine and all of his propaganda. Wasn't he on Joe Rogan at one point?
Yes.
Yeah, I know he got talked about with he talked to Joe Rogan about the vaccines and stuff like that. But he was also seen here back during like COVID and stuff with the Sesame Street characters. And I just found it interesting looking back at the Sesame Street characters, because it's like they really were trying to indoctrinate kids. It's crazy.
That is kind of
Elmo, but I have to say it's wonderful to actually see all of you. It also sounds and looks like you and your families have been staying healthy.
Oh, I have a way I've been staying healthy, Dr. Sanjay. Look.
Oh, does Rosita have a boo-boo?
this is from my COVID vaccine. My mommy and my papi took me to get it this morning. See, my mommy and my papi said that it will help keep me, my friends, my neighbors, my abuela, all healthy.
Your parents are absolutely right. You know, COVID vaccines are now available for children.
Remember, guys, you getting the vaccine protects everyone else.
Yeah.
that's what the rhetoric was.
It's crazy to see that it's like being used for such heavy propaganda, right?
That's unscrupulous amounts of propaganda. Holy moly.
Well, so the reason I bring it up, right, is because, again, their most recent tweet was Pride Month, and now everyone has taken the opportunity to show just how propagandized Sesame Street has became. I have another clip from Nick Sartor after this one, but this one goes further. We're only 40 seconds in. I'm going to play a little bit more. I can only stand so much of Sesame Street. I'm only highlighting this to show that they are trying to indoctrinate children, like even Sesame Street is.
But you can only stand so much of Sesame Street?
I can only stand
there's
so
a
much
level
of it.
you can withstand?
Oh, yeah, that is fair. That is saying that is to say that there's a level
like
in
I
which
watch
I'm okay
5
with.
minutes before I tap out.
Every morning, part of the
Only five. Wait. So we at least got 5 minutes. Okay. Well, my clips in total is less than 5 minutes. So perfect. So let's continue.
5 years and older. And the more people who get them, the better we're going to be able to help stop the spread of COVID.
Oh, this is, yeah. Look at this one.
Elmo doesn't understand. What's happening? Why are all these people together?
Oh, well, they're gathering together to protest. A protest is when people come together to show they are upset and disagree about something. They want to make others aware of the problem. Yeah, I'm bringing this sign to the protest at the community center later.
That voice, though.
They look upset.
People are upset because racism is a huge problem in our country. On Sesame Street, we all love and respect one another. Across the country, people of color, especially in the black community, are being treated unfairly because of how they look.
This is not parody, by the way. This is not parody. This is Sesame Street. Like, if I just showed this to you unprompted, you would probably think it's like, oh, that's funny. Someone made fun of Sesame Street. No, this is Sesame Street. This is absolutely. Why are they showing this to kids? It's insane. They're showing videos of protest and then being like, yeah, black people are targeted all over the country.
Mm-hmm. All those black kids you go to school with?
Yeah, the whole like 12 black
because they're
people that killed by
black.
cops every year.
Trying to radicalize people from cradle to grave.
Right. Well, and then my girlfriend and I were talking about it because we were watching this clip while I was looking for news, and she asked me, and she's like, "Is that supposed to be like a tranny Elmo, or like what is that?"
Well, Elmo's always sounded fruity, so.
No, I'm talking about the one on the right, the character on the right. I can't tell if it's a woman because it clearly sounds like a dude.
It's got to be a woman. I mean, look at the eye. Look at the
Well, yeah,
the
it's supposed to be a woman, but that's what I'm
eyes.
saying. It's supposed to be a woman, but it sounds like a dude playing the character. So is it a tranny Elmo?
It's like Sorona in the Hogwarts Legacy game.
Okay, so but it gets worse than this. Watch, Elmo even comes out in support of Black Lives Matter.
I
Their
bet.
culture,
Directly.
race, and who they are.
Elmo wants to end racism too. Elmo wants everybody to be treated fairly.
Welcome back to the ABCs of COVID-19. A CNN and
This is
Sesame Street
again. This is
town
from a
hall
few
for
years ago,
children
but
and
this is
families.
just showing you guys. Don't show your kids shit like Sesame Street.
Elmo's seen lots of people wearing masks.
I think this is the same clip as Nick
outside, but
Sartor.
It's not Halloween.
You know, just like doctors.
Why
wear
does,
masks in
Elmo
hospitals
violently
when they
shake
take
his
care
head?
of people,
I don't
you're gonna
know.
see people
It's the
now
same
wearing
thing like you
masks
see like
outside
those
as
weird
well. And the
streamers
reason
do, and
wearing
they
masks
they're
like
highly
this
animated
is
while they
to
talk.
protect
It's
people
super
in
fucking
public
gay.
from their germs and things like that. They don't want to spread your germs, and these masks can help with that.
Oh yeah, I remember
Yes,
masks.
and the masks help us.
Yes, the masks are a way to prevent you from spreading germs, even as you just breathe. Well, Elmo, how old are you?
Okay, yeah, that's enough of that. What's called? I have another clip from Nick Sartor. We'll play real quick because that one's a lot shorter. But we don't need to talk about masks and stuff like that. I'm just showing the propaganda that I didn't know that Elmo was this deep into the propaganda.
Yeah.
Did you guys know Elmo was sharing this shit during like COVID and stuff?
No, I've always thought of Sesame Street as like, yeah, it's a little weird. The animals or the Muppets or whatever are a little bit weird, but like,
Yeah, I don't even know if I could show this one on. I don't even know if I can show this one on YouTube, but it's Sesame Street, so I'm assuming I can. Sesame Street is grooming our. This is from Nick Sortor. Sesame Street is grooming our children, and we're paying for it with our tax dollars. This is freaking sickening to watch. Time to defund PBS now. And then here's another.
It's time to finally unveil.
This is like a drag show, Sesame Street.
Oh, it's uncanny. Ellen looked just like Jonathan Van Ness.
Cookie Monster, Cookie. That is Jonathan Van Ness.
Elmo, Cookie, are you ready to see my monster piece?
Ready,
What?
Jonathan?
Mama Bear, some runway music, please.
Oh, yeah.
People and monsters alike, a round of applause for the Not Too Late Show's newest monster, Alan. Ta-da! Alan Monster is wearing the latest in high monster fashion with a set of sleek horns.
Look, they turn the frogs gay. They're trying to turn the children gay. That was the point of me bringing this up. I can see the disgust on Joey's face. It's so high def.
I'm just being mindful of the fact that you're on YouTube, so there's not much I can say about this.
Say whatever you want. I got hit with a copyright thing for playing James O'Keefe, so. No, I did. I'm not joking.
And that's why, Tyler, we need to start going after these people. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was funny. We're gonna.
I can't believe we've gotten to a point in our world where this is acceptable to do, especially growing up. Me and TJ are around close to the same age, but like growing up in like the generation that I grew up in, where we would call each other the sacred F word, or we'd use gay as an insult. Like now it's just this.
I mean, I still did. During school, I still did. I don't know what. I was never like. Look, I'm not that much younger than you guys, but I didn't have
like
to deal with this.
10 whole years younger than me, dude.
I know, but that's what I mean. Like I caught like the tail end of
You know
this.
what's
Like
changed in those 10 years, though?
my sister and my younger siblings had to deal with some of this shit in school. I didn't have to deal with it, thankfully. I was still able to call anyone I wanted a faggot. So
Tyler Today News has been banned from YouTube.
I can't say retard anymore. Oh, CNN said I can. Screw you,
That
YouTube.
retard is acceptable again. The transabled, disabled, wabled jables are now.
My mom
not
heard me
a
say
minority.
retard one day, and I looked at her because she's like, Tyler, you can't say that anymore, and she was being dead serious. And I looked at her and I'm like, Mom, I openly say, and I almost said it on YouTube.
You're like, bitch, sit on down.
I will say the hard R on YouTube right now just to prove a point.
What, feller?
Feller. But no, I just looked at her. I'm like, Mom, I literally say, like, are you really getting on to me for saying retard right now?
And she's like, Tyler, you better stop messing around on that internet.
What'd you say, Joey?
Has a great stand-up bit where he's talking about, I'm a product of my time. And back in my time, we would call people faggots. We would call people retards, and it was completely fine. And so I'm not going to stop, you know?
I mean, I'm never going to stop. You guys know I'm a free speech absolutist. It's just YouTube isn't. So I can't say certain things on YouTube. I'm not doing the news show on Twitch anymore, though. I don't think there's a point to doing that. Twitch is more for gaming, so I'm just going to do gaming on Twitch.
Who knows what more for Twitch?
I mean,
it's more for gaming, yet Hassan's out here doing a solid.
Oh yeah,
thing.
he got his like 1 day ban for calling for violence. I love it.
It was the day that he takes off.
Yeah, Twitch just letting you know that if you make money for them, they will change the rules up, which is is honestly a reflection on society. So,
hey, that just shows that Hassan truly isn't a socialist at heart. He's a capitalist. So
he's not only a capitalist; he's a crony capitalist, a crony corrupt capitalist who doesn't have the rules apply to him.
Yeah,
Come on, Joey.
Strange how that works.
So there were so much that happened over the weekend. I don't know if there's anything that stuck with you guys in particular.
I turned my brain off.
I don't think anyone is really talking about this story. I talked about this for a moment with Joey, but this story is just hilarious. I want to get your thoughts on it, TJ.
Yeah.
Climate activist Greta Thunberg joins aid ship sailing to Gaza aimed at breaking Israel's blockade. So Greta Thunberg is on her way to Gaza, and she plans on stepping across that line that Israel's drawn.
How does she already look like a 40-year-old aunt?
Yeah, what happened to Greta Thunberg? She aged like 8 years in a span of a year.
How dare you?
She's got to move
Look
on.
at her, bro. She looks like she's about to. I mean, I guess that's the type of person she is, but like, she looks like she's about to file a complaint with like the local deli or something. Like,
She has turned into like a Karen.
look at that. Who's cutting her hair? Probably her parents.
So I don't know what she aims to get out of this. Climate campaigner Greta Thunberg and 11 other activists set sail on Sunday afternoon for Gaza on a ship aimed at breaking Israel's siege of the devastated territory, organizers said. The sailing boat Madeleine, operated by activist group Freedom Flotilla Coalition, departed from the Sicilian port of Catania in southern Italy. It will reach the shores of Gaza Strip in an effort to bring in aid and raise international awareness. How much fucking aid are 11 people going to bring?
Right. Well, I mean, however much shit, perhaps, but
it's amazing how she's made a living off of not doing anything.
Yeah.
I feel like this has bad news written all over it. Remember when we were trying to make the beachhead to deliver aid to Gaza, and all those people were like shot at during construction and whatnot?
Well, that's what I told Joey. I was like, what if something happens with the IDF, or what happens if something happens with Hamas with her? Like, that's not smart to go and do this. And then even besides that, 11 people on a sailboat. Let's be generous here. Let's say they bring enough food for a few days to a week for like 100 to 200 people. Like, that's nothing, like, in reality.
Yeah, it's all grandstanding.
Yeah, the entire boat will be ransacked in less than an hour the moment it touches the beach. Well, and I don't mean ransacked by like people are just going to come up and steal shit. What I mean is like people are going to come up and all the stuff that they have to give away will be gone within an hour. So it's like, cool, you're bringing aid, but like it's literally just for attention. So
yeah.
I mean, no one's talking about climate change or anything. There's nothing to talk about with climate change or anything recently. So she needs to get her attention from somewhere. So she's like, oh, I know. Everyone's talking about this Israel-Gaza stuff. Let's go do something with that. It's so stupid.
Yeah, she's moving on to the next thing that's going to keep her popularity up and whatnot.
I mean, they even say it in the article. She's a climate activist. She's not a Gaza activist. Shitty Gov, you like that emote, that new emote? I added a bunch of emotes, TJ. You should check them out.
Yeah, I definitely need to.
It's called let's see, what is my favorite one? I added a ton of different ones. I think I like the one I sent Joey, the one with the Pikachu and the lightsabers. It's called the Pikachu rave. I like that one. The fish one is good too. The one Joey just did.
The fish one? You mean Magikarp?
Well, no. So that's actually a meme, a meme fish, and then someone overlaid Magikarp over it.
Nice.
So I actually know the original, but I like the meme and I like Magikarp, so I was like, oh, perfect. But anyway, back to the article. So let's see. We are doing this because no matter what odds we are against, we have to keep trying, Thunberg said, bursting into tears during her speech. Oh my God.
Yeah, they.
We have the video. Wait, I need the video of this.
You know what my employment is? I am a Discord enthusiast. Like, she's a climate activist.
Wait, here's the sailboat. Here's the sailboat. Dude, that's so...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're going to go...
Get 11 people on that.
I thought it was going to be at least like 2 or 3 times the size.
The best boat socialism can buy.
And they're flying the flags and whatnot.
Oh my God, they are, dude! They're gonna get shot by the IDF.
Dude,
that's what Will Chamberlain said. He said that he said a little bit more. But...
Does that boat even have radio communications? That they're gonna try to get in connection with the boat, not get a response, and open fire.
What are they gonna do? Go into the sea with like a megaphone, like "We will not stop."
Joey, really the Dark Souls emote.
I did that.
Yeah,
before.
You died.
I was just clairvoyant. You know, sometimes you see visions of the future and they're unclear until once it happens, and you just,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's exactly why I say that I'm worried about these people. Like,
Look, I'm making jokes, but on a serious note, I am genuinely worried about her going and doing this. There's a lot of different avenues where this can go wrong. I don't think it's a good idea overall. I think it's an opportunity for us to make jokes. I don't like Greta Thunberg, but overall, I don't think this is a good idea. It's a hot conflict zone. Hamas isn't exactly nice to foreigners, and who's to say Israel won't accidentally open fire on they literally attacked a fucking U.S. carrier ship. Like, they will attack Greta Thunberg. just for political points. Like, oops, sorry, we thought it was a Gaza ship. We saw the flags. Like, it's just on a more serious note, it's just not a good idea. But I think that's plenty of opportunity to make fun of.
What do you think the U.S.'s response would be if anything did happen to these people?
Like, if let's say something happened to their ship, like let's say it got shot at, no one got hurt. Even then, I think the U.S. would say nothing. Let's say the U.S. got shot, or let's say the ship got shot at, and someone did get hurt. U.S. would still do nothing. I mean, Joey and I will probably talk about this here in a moment with the Ukraine stuff, but I'm pretty black-pilled on this whole war shit. The Trump administration is not going the way I was hoping it would go, and I think a lot of people would agree there. And if I don't see big things starting to happen in the next 2 to 3 months, I will be incredibly disheartened. I like disheartened to the point where I don't even know if I'll vote in the next election. Like, there's no point.
Gotcha.
But anyway, what were you?
I tagged Chris Palvaska to come join our stream. So,
absolutely.
I was like, hey, listen, man, show some love for. I said small.
That would be crazy.
Small streamers from the Timcast Discord out here talking this big game. It's like, well, let's see the power of Rumble, dog.
That would be really cool if he came and talked some news real quick. I don't
Natalie
have any Rumble news.
Out a rom-com where a MAGA and a deep state fall in love. I'm like, isn't that kind of what you did, Natalie? Anyway.
Six Shitty Gov, he said Greta should just focus on fishing or whatever. Maybe find a nice pirate to settle down with.
It's not a bad idea.
Honestly, that's not a bad idea.
I hope she doesn't regret her decision.
Shitty Gov, do you like the emotes? I see you're testing them out. If anyone wants me to add more emotes too, those are just the ones that I found interesting. Is this emote no, it's a stick figure, god damn it.
Awesome.
I'm not reading that.
Yes, it is. Take a Shitty Gov.
I'm gonna delete that one, Shitty Gov.
Before you delete it, I can see it.
Just because he said that. Okay, so so it says the activists expect to take 7 days to get to their destination if they are not stopped. Thunberg, who became an international famous climate activist, blah, blah, blah. The attempt to reach Gaza by sea in early May failed after another of the group's vessels was attacked by 2 alleged drones while sailing the international waters off the coast of Malta. What?
So they have already been attacked.
The group blamed... Yeah, they tried this in May. They tried to go in May, and they were attacked by drones. It says the group blamed Israel for the attack, which damaged the front section of the ship in the latest confrontation over efforts to send assistance to the Palestinian territory devastated by nearly 19 months of war. The Israeli government says the blockade is an attempt to pressure Hamas to release hostages that triggered the conflict. Hamas-led militants assaulted southern Israel that day, killing some 1,200 people, blah, blah, blah. In response, blah, blah. Okay, it doesn't say anything else. So yeah, no, honestly, that makes a lot of sense. I would not be surprised in the least if Israel did minor fucking with, like if they went and fucked with their boat a little bit just to deter them.
I'm sure Israel's done a lot of minor fucking with.
Yeah, I know. Well, but so my point is, like, they don't have to just like straight up open fire. They could just be like, hey, let's make their boat inoperable or scare them. So I don't know. That's definitely a possibility here too. Why not read it? How will you know I'm out smoking if I don't have a stogie for an emo? Maybe a uterus with a hookah. Get the point across better. He thinks my emote on Rumble, for those watching on YouTube, which is nobody, he thinks my emo is a sperm smoking.
It does kind of look like that.
If you want to look at it that way, go ahead. Whatever, fuck it.
Maybe listen. That's what happens when Mama Bear be smoking when she got a baby in the womb. The sperm just be like.
Yeah, there you go. Of course, that's why they tell you not to smoke, because he's already got his fill in the womb.
Yep.
Anyway, final thoughts on Greta Thunberg being an idiot.
It's going to be crazy to see how it plays out, and I don't know. I think
I'm going to be looking for an update because I didn't hear about it back in May. I didn't report on anything.
So when did they set sail?
I mean, it never happened.
Sunday. It says it'll be about a week. So by next Monday, they should be there.
Gotcha.
So next Monday, we should have an update. So tune back in, follow, share, all that good stuff. Tune in next Monday. Joey, final thoughts?
I wish I could just make a living based off doing nothing like she does.
Just make an OnlyFans, Joey. Look, Joey, we talked about this before the show. We have a plan. We just have to wait for AI a little bit longer, and then Joey and I don't need to do all this crap, guys. We just make the OnlyFans chicks.
We're gonna be AI pimps. No,
we're gonna be the AI pimps, guys.
It's gonna be like Quark in Deep Space Nine with the holodecks, the holo suites. We're just gonna be like, what would you like? Which type of AI girl would you like to look at today?
Yep.
So we're not gonna tell them it's AI.
And what's great is you don't even have to be the Andrew Tate going and typing to everybody.
You're like, hi, I'm just a 4'11" Asian girl with F cups.
Yeah, you just set up a bot to do it.
Yeah, you just set up a bot. AI is making the video and it's chatting in chatting to the
exactly.
customers.
Oh, look, someone left Rumble to move over to YouTube just to spite me, huh?
Who could that have been?
I don't know.
Comment who you are. Identify yourself.
Identify yourself. All right, Joey, let's talk about the more controversial stuff because we were talking about this a little bit before the show. Joey, you were saying that you too are also a little bit black-pilled over
I've
over
been
what we're seeing in
inspired
Ukraine.
to black-pill them by one mad stork.
You've been black-pilled by one mad stork?
No. He inspired my recent black pilling.
Oh.
But I don't. It's not like a typical black pilling. It's like I described myself as being. We live in a blue pilled world where I'm red pilled. A couple of us are red pilled. We're like the only ones that know what's going on. Everyone's in a daze. So I'm increasingly black pilled about that. But I'm also white pilled about the eventual outcome because I think we will eventually win. But it's not going to be the peaceful. It's not going to be the peaceful way. That's not. It's really appearing like that to me. I don't know how we win. I mean, look at the decision with the Supreme Court today. Like, they don't even want to look at the AR-15 thing from Maryland.
What? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, Phil Labonte was tweeting about it. It's like they didn't rule against it, but they didn't rule on it. They want lower courts to rule on it. And it's like every time there's like some sort of thing brought by like people with more right-leaning or Republican-leaning or conservative-leaning ideals, the Supreme Court always like ignores it or passes it off or says they don't have enough standing. But the moment the left wants to try to save a fucking illegal immigrant, they just come down quickly and immediately go, yes, Martha, what could I do for you? So it's just like, I don't know how we can do anything when the system is stacked against us continuously, despite the fact that Donald Trump is president. And the fact that he's president, and like it really seems like he's choosing Ukraine. He's going to choose Ukraine. He claimed to be the president that I was going to get us out of this war, and the only way to get us out of this war was Ukraine had to make concessions in like the Donbass region and those other areas, and they're not doing it. So he seems like he's all talk, and I think NATO's figuring that out now. Every time he does these tariff things, he eventually pulls back on them. It seems like he's just all talk and no bite. I woke up and played basketball, sick of shitty government.
I don't know.
That's how it's appearing to me.
I think that there's a lot more going on than. Hold on, how do I word this? Like, you're picking and choosing a couple of things to say that like things aren't going our way when there's been specific actions that have been taken that are wins for the right. You know what I mean? Like, not everything is completely blowing up. Like. With the tariffs or whatever, like the main point is not just to have these tariffs on them forever; it's to spark these negotiation deals, right?
So Acidic, I'm sorry, Acidic. I'm in a metal box alone at work, staring at cameras, and I'm being fed black pills. I'm sorry, Acidic.
Case of emotion.
I'm in a four-corner room staring at candles.
But so what were you saying though, TJ?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not black-pilled yet. I think that there is more good taking place than bad, and the couple of like mishaps along the way.
So we could talk about that. We can go more in depth on that. Like, what did you see? What happened with Russia and Ukraine over the weekend, though?
With those drones.
They sent in drones and they took out at least the reports are at least 6, maybe a dozen or more. Of Russia's main airplane they use for delivering nuclear strikes.
I'm not being black-pilled to discourage anybody, okay? I'm being black-pilled because people need to understand the gravity of the situation. People all too often want to ignore everything that's happening. They want to put their heads in the sand and they want to just be like, out of sight, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. It's okay, nothing's happening. If I just don't think about it, it won't happen. But like, that's not the case. In order to, like Thomas Jefferson said, a vigilant society is how we get the job done. And all increasingly, people don't want to be vigilant. They want to avoid the things that are going on around us. And listen, it's nice that Donald Trump is going to do things with the economy and stuff, but like, we need him to solve these cataclysmic issues. And if it's just another, oh, the economy's good, and then it goes back to a Democrat president and they destroy everything again because the deep state roots are so entrenched, then it really doesn't matter what he does for the next 4 years. I mean, there has to be some serious changes on the government bureaucracy level. I mean, that doesn't look like that's happening to me.
How does that tie into what just took place with
because
Russia?
He said he was going to stop this conflict. Tyler told me earlier that they basically took out a lot of nuclear launch sites in Russia, and NATO helped with the attack. So clearly Donald Trump is choosing NATO over making peace with Russia, and that's the wrong move. I don't care about Ukraine. I don't care about Russia. I don't care about Europe. I mean,
you don't think that NATO is acting without Trump's blessing? Or
but if he, that's what I'm saying.
That's the thing, though, TJ, is they are, but he's not fighting against it, is what we're saying. Like he's in his own corner trying to make peace with Putin and Zelensky, while NATO's over here in the other corner, allegedly with the backing of the entire United States, making their own deals, making their own plans, and striking Russia with Ukraine.
Right.
We talked about recently Britain openly saying they're creating a task force, putting over $1 billion into it to create a hacking team directly to attack Russia. Like, we just keep seeing escalation after escalation, and this war isn't going away. And every time we see something like peace talks are going to happen, we just see an escalation, whether it's from Putin or Ukraine striking one another. So every time peace talks seem like they're going to happen, the other side's like, nah, fuck it, never mind. So, and that's what we mean by, like, Trump. We see all these things going on, and all these people have the backing of Trump, yet they're not doing anything about it. Like, again, we've talked about recently.
What do you mean people have the backing of Trump?
Like during the Biden administration, for example, Texas was constantly going against the Biden administration in regards to immigration. They were constantly trying to put stuff at the border to prevent people from coming in. They were trying to find avenues to deport illegal immigrants, even though it's not within the state's authority to do so. They were looking for all these avenues to go against the Biden administration to get the illegals out of their state. Now that the Biden administration's out and the Trump administration's in, where the fuck are all these people that were trying to do all this shit? Now nobody's doing nothing. All of a sudden, now that you can actually get this shit through, now all of a sudden you don't want to do anything? It doesn't make
aren't border
sense.
crossings at an all-time low right now?
They are at an all-time low, but what happens when the next administration gets in?
20 million people in the country that shouldn't be in the country.
Those are two separate issues.
Like, no, it's not, because listen to this, though, TJ. Matt Stork pointed this out. Do you know where 50% of the illegal immigrants are?
Tell me.
25% are in California. The other 25% are in Texas.
Okay.
So why is Texas not doing mass deportations right now?
I mean, yeah.
They keep worrying about the illegal immigrants in blue sanctuary states, cities and states, but they won't do it in Texas. Like, that's what Tom Homan said, right? They're basically going after the people in, like, New York and Chicago and those areas first. It's like, why? You're going to use all these resources to get rid of illegals that the state wants there. People continue to vote for the Democrats that put them in there. And instead of getting them out of the red states to, reinforce those red states first before we start worrying about recapturing blue states, there's a lot of things that are going on that are, I mean, it's better than Kamala Harris, but man, it's really not looking like that juggernaut that we needed. And we needed a juggernaut.
And TJ, obviously, feel free to disagree. I'm just pointing out that I was looking for a lot more, like we talked about during Trump's first administration, how he was slowed down by the deep state and stuff like that. Well, he's rooted a lot of that out. He's put a lot of people in that we're supposed to be able to trust, like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, and we're not seeing things get done.
Look at this,
the whole time before Trump, I'll let you go in just a second, Joey. The whole time before Trump got in office, the whole time, the months leading up to it, the moment he won the election, everyone was saying repeatedly, hey, we have a year to get shit done. We have a year and a half to get shit done. We don't have the full 4 years. Everyone kept saying it. Now, where the fuck is everybody? Everyone's just like, oh, we're 6 months in, nothing's fucking getting done. Executive orders aren't being signed into law, like Acidic Mind pointed out. Like, what's going on?
No, and I'll agree with you that like things are moving more slowly than we would like. Every single action that the Trump administration is taking is getting challenged by, these judges and whatnot. And so
the courts let that happen. They let that happen, but every time the right does it, that doesn't happen. So the odds are completely stacked against us, despite the fact that Trump's in.
Haven't there been some victories in the Supreme Court for the Trump administration?
Very small ones, though. But like, how long does it take for them to actually like come to fruition? Like, they will immediately drop everything they're doing to like pay attention to these like left-wing injunctions. But when it's anything that the right does, it's like months or years go by before they finally. The Supreme Court, they're so busy sitting around doing whatever that they do, debating. I guess that's all they do. They sit at a table and debate. I mean, that's what we do. But like Sick of Shitty Gov said before, Joey's just being realistic. We could convince the people that the Fed is not just the Fed, the federal government, tyrannical and illegitimate. We can avoid violence, but it's like how it's exceedingly difficult to convince people on what's going on, and not even convince them, just to get them to pay attention. People, I think a lot of people know something's wrong, but they live such comfortable lives. And I said to Tyler when we had a little talk beforehand, I think people are more comfortable with having a comfortable tyranny now than they are fighting for freedom, because there's so much luxury, so much bread and circuses, so much shit that people can just do to get their mind off stuff that they don't mind the fact that they're getting fucked 6 ways to Sunday. And they don't even notice it half the time. I mean, you got your cable TV, you got your basketball games, you got your baseball games, you still have the ability to freely move around, even though, like unlike Europe half the time. You got all these video games we can play. Like, listen, you could download video game emulators on any computer from PS2 level and below. You have a whole treasure trove of shit you can do. People just want to ignore the fact that the world is falling apart.
Well, it's called, there's that great quote they have from, what is it, ancient Rome, right? Give them bread and circus, they'll never revolt. So, and that's exactly what we see nowadays. And that's why when people come to me and they're like, oh, did you see the latest sports ball game? And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the sports ball game. Did you hear that Ukraine might start a nuclear war here soon?
Now here's the thing, though. I would not listen, for somebody like me, I can balance that, right? I can watch the NBA playoffs, and you can tell me about Ukraine, and I'm going to know all about it. But apparently, people just cannot balance multiple things.
I can. I'm not doing sports ball, and
you can. But I'm just saying, like, most people seem like they can't balance multiple things, and it is what it is, I guess. But like, if they can't balance multiple things, then you have to try to find a way to connect their interests to politics, which is what the left does, and they're correct in that tactic. The right is always like, "Oh, we don't want politics in our sports ball." It's like, well, the left's doing it, so you have to do it. Well, and that's you can either run away from the space, or you can
win. The Democrats make their life about politics.
Listen, I'm sorry, TJ. Just give me 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I have to hear all the time. I have to hear all the time from right wingers, Republicans, people who live isolated, how ready they are for a fucking civil war. Yet they run away at every fucking opportunity they can get. They run away when it's cultural battles. They constantly run away from cultural battles. Oh, they're doing this, I'm going to stop doing this. They don't even try to get involved to push back. They run away, and they wonder how the left monopolizes these spaces. I wonder how the left always dominates cultural arts and stuff, because the right can't even be bothered. The moment they see anything that is like remotely left-leaning, they just leave. No pushback. None of that. They don't do it. They don't push back at all. They're like, they roll over. They're cowards. Let's just put it frankly. Most Republican voters, most people call themselves conservatives, libertarians, freedom-loving, mug guns. Most of them are actually just cowards. They can't even do the simplest thing. They can't even do the diplomatic. We're in a diplomatic sort of civil conflict now. They can't even do that. But they're so ready for the violence to pop off. Yeah, okay. You know what's going to happen if the civil war pops off is they're going to be hiding. They're going to be hiding. How are you going to communicate with? Oh, we all live in the middle of nowhere. Well, how are you going to communicate when fucking troops run in? What are you going to do? You're going to be perched up on your balcony like a fucking sniper, like you're like the Chinese during the Hurricane Katrina. Like, come on, bro, or the Koreans rather.
And then we didn't get to talk about it last week because I didn't do a whole bunch of shows last week, TJ. But did you see the other story about Putin? They tried to shoot down his helicopter. They tried to assassinate him.
Right. Like, I see that the war is escalating. It's still escalating, and that's like doesn't show any signs of stopping. It really sucks that neither side is coming to the negotiating table when, Trump is putting out,
It's very easy to stop the war. You know how you stop the war?
How, Joey?
Stop funding it.
Donald Trump says we're not supporting Ukraine anymore at all, unequivocally, and that's it. The war will end in 2 weeks.
NATO,
listen. NATO won't do shit. Europe's not going to sacrifice their luxury and soft socialism for fucking Ukraine. They can say whatever they want, but they're not going to do it. They don't even do it for themselves. Self-defense is not an interest to Europe. So why would they help Ukraine?
Billions? Did we send more billions to Ukraine?
He wants to sign his mineral deal, and part of the mineral deal is to continue of giving a weapon armament. So I guess we're going to continue. But we're getting something back now. It's okay. Even though we voted for Trump to not be a war candidate, it's okay. We're getting rare earth minerals back, guys.
Oh, and then he was complaining about Putin recently, calling him a bad guy and other stuff like that. So like he's trying to be having these peace talks, and now he's getting frustrated with Putin and blaming him for things. That's what Joey was talking about. It seems like he's going to side with Ukraine because now he's talking shit on Putin.
See, Sean, the problem is they've almost fetishized like fighting. That's why I'm not a big fan of like war movies. They sort of like romanticize like battles and like to make it look like fighting is a heroic thing. Like the war, everyone thinks of war. Everyone thinks of war as I'm swinging a sword at my enemy. I'm shooting at my enemy. No. Wars start before physical fighting happens. That's why, like, Alex Jones called his Operation InfoWars, because there's wars that happen beforehand. Have you ever watched Game of Thrones, guys? All that politicking they do before there's actually any fighting, that's a war. It's literally a war. That's what the generals do. They go into the rooms and they make these decisions, which could either lead to an escalation of more physical violence or a de-escalation of physical violence.
Well, that's why we had the Cold War with Russia, because it wasn't hot conflict.
Well, that was all proxy shit, like
it was proxy,
funding.
But what I mean is like when we don't attack each other directly, like trade war, like that's why it's called trade war. You're not attacking anybody directly, but those decisions increase conflict.
Lead to people conflate war with physical violence. Not always that. We're at a war, right? We're in a, not only are we in a soft civil war.
Joey, how many fights start with a punch? Most fights start with an insult. So.
We're not only are we in a soft civil war in our country, we're in the prelude to a greater world war. So there's a lot of shit going down, and there's so much shit going down. Like, I don't think people realize how much shit is happening in this world. But hey, listen, the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out, so.
Oh, but don't break their TOS. They'll brick your fucking Switch.
Don't break their TOS. Don't you steal from that big corporation, even though they skim off the top and fuck you in the ass everywhere they
charge
can.
You $80 for games that are probably worth $40.
Yes, charge you $80 per game, make you pay for online subscriptions, give you the nice little, what do they call it, the season pass. Buy the $25 season pass for the hope that you're going to get some extra worthwhile content. The hope. Oh, yeah. Please, video game company, please, give me,
please. Joey's going off the deep end. I can see it.
Joey's on a good one today. I'm loving it. He's got Outworld after this, guys. So if you're not getting enough of Joey, don't worry. We're leading into Joey's show.
Yes, you can hear Sean. Listen to look at visually at Sean typing in the chat, and then you could see him on Outworld in about 49 minutes.
It's Monday, so Sean's eye view will be on with Outworld.
Very cool.
Let's see, what is Sean saying? Weren't a bunch of those Nintendo games available for free on older online consoles? Now they're selling them for like $20 a piece. Yeah,
yep.
That sounds about right.
That's why I have no shame in saying this. I use the emulators in Nintendo. You can try to take down your ROMs on all the websites you want. You can't stop the internet, bro.
Did you see that they removed like 20 years of content from Gmod? They forced Gmod to remove all Nintendo content.
Listen, if you need a ROM site, I got you.
No, it's crazy to see like Gary's Mod, because Gary's Mod has had it for years. They've constantly added more Nintendo stuff, and recently they forced them to remove it all. It's crazy.
And you know what though, Nintendo. This is the issue: is Nintendo is one of these companies. They have a monopoly. Obviously, it's a rightful monopoly. These are their IPs that they built up, so they can kind of do whatever they want with Mario, Zelda, and whatever. You know, you can't find Nintendo shit anywhere, but they can do this because they can do this because Nintendo systems always sell well because of kids, and parents always buy something they can do with their kids. And like they're going to pay for it, just like GTA 6. If they put GTA 6 at $100, that game is going to be the best-selling game of all time because people are going to buy it.
I think it was Melted I was talking to. I asked him, I was like, Melted, genuinely, like, because we were talking about how much games cost. And I told him, I was like, look, if a game comes out and it's $80 and it's unfinished, piece of garbage, whatever, yeah, that makes sense. It should not be an $80 game, clearly. Maybe a $10, $20 game, if that. But GTA 6 comes out, it's completely finished. It's GTA 6. Like, if it comes out at $120, would you buy it? And he's like, yeah, I probably would. And I'm like, exactly. So it's not the price, it's the game. It's what you're paying for. Is it worth what you're paying is the actual question.
I first realized this when Max Payne 3 came out. I think it was like 2010-ish, where the season pass was like an absurd amount of money.
Well, season passes are scams. That's just ways for...
No, that's what I'm saying. That's where I noticed. That's where I first started noticing the season pass scam. It was like this absurd amount of money, and they're like, yeah, but, you know, it's going to be cheaper because of all the content. And, like, they barely released any worthwhile content for that fucking game other than the actual base game. And I'm just like, season passes could be anywhere from $25 to $50 depending on the fucking game. And, you know, if a game has a storied history of, like, actually giving you, you know, fair content post, then like I can get it. But most of these games don't. They don't do that. Everyone gets fooled by these marketing schemes, and like it's okay for the big business to do that to you, but God forbid you fucking pirate Super Mario Bros. From like you know,
how dare you add a character that looks like Mario into Gary's mod? How dare you?
Yes, how dare you make a game called Pal World? It looks like Pokemon. How dare you? How dare you pirate a 45-year-old game? You criminal. You're stealing from this poor corporation, and corporation are people too, apparently.
Yeah. But what's called? So I want to talk a little bit more about the Russia story, and then we'll move on to another topic. So it says here, a surprise Ukrainian drone attack that targeted several Russian air bases hosting nuclear-capable strategic bombers was unprecedented in its scope and sophistication. For the first time, reached as far as Siberia in a heavy blow to the Russian military. Ukraine said over 40 bombers, or about a third of Russia's strategic bomber fleet, was damaged or destroyed on Sunday. That's what I'm talking about with the escalation, dude. They tried to kill him, literally, and now they've taken out a third of his strategic bombers.
Yeah,
what was this
is war, though. Like,
but that's what yes, it is war. But what I worry about is if this escalation keeps happening, NATO starts getting involved, there will be nukes dropped in Ukraine.
I mean,
I can't.
That's a fair point. Like the worry of this escalating to nuclear warfare is like always on the table. And
on Sinosky's show yesterday that I was on, he showed me this. He put up this tweet where basically Ukraine fought back solely on their own, and I'm just like, dude, I really don't want these. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want Ukraine to win anything because they're ungrateful. Their leader is ungrateful, and typically a country will follow their leader. So I just assume they're all ungrateful. It's just ungrateful. They don't get, like, you know, Trump said before I guess he got, you know, the talking to. You never say thank you.
Look, I didn't care about Ukraine before. I don't care about them now. As far as I'm concerned, they can become a part of Russia by the end of this.
They should. I mean, they're basically ethnically Russian anyway. Who are we fucking kidding?
That's like Alaska getting split off after the United States collapses, and then like 20 years later, we're like, "Hey, Alaska, you should be a part of us again." They're like, "No, fuck off," and then the rest of the world's like, "Hey, protect Alaska."
Like I'm just tired of this conflict. I'm tired of people just claiming that it's all Russia. It's such a boogeyman. It's what they always do. Let's look at the facts. The facts is that the United States, NATO kept going east. It kept fucking going east. And Russia, you got to give them credit. They've showed extreme patience with the fact that they kept lying and breaking their treaties.
They've showed extreme restraint, not just patience.
Yes, patience and restraint. United States, if anyone who's ever studied the United States knows they always break their treaties. I mean, let's call a spade. I mean, that's what they did with every Native American tribe that they allied with to take out other Native American tribes.
Well,
They
there's
broke
rumors we overthrew the government in Ukraine.
I'm sure. Yeah, that's what we did. They put Zelensky in. He was a
Patsy or whatever.
Patsy. He was a yes man, whatever the fuck. But that's what they always do. This is the same tactic every time. They overthrow Saddam Hussein, and what happens? Like ISIS starts fucking formulating, and all these other terror cells start formulating. But we keep doing this shit, no matter. We keep doing the same tactic over and over and over and over and over and over and over. All those South American people that we overthrew during the Vietnam War. All of a sudden, you got all these like fucking kingpin, fucking mafioso type leaders of these countries, and it's just like, oh, they just keep creating these people for us to continue to fight and have reasons to be in other countries. That's why we have to end this type of foreign policy. We keep funding our enemies 20 years down the line. I guarantee you, in 20 years, Ukraine's going to be an enemy to us, like a real enemy. They're already an enemy to me. But they're going to be a real enemy. What did we do in the 70s and 80s when Russia was trying to get into the Middle East? Who did we fund? Tim Osman, Osama bin Laden, Al Qaeda, and guess what happened?
Sean's view. He said NATO's not going to do shit if we back out from funding. We are NATO's backing. If we say fuck off, Zelensky's starting the fight. Nobody's going to back Ukraine.
Right.
Well, and that's what Joey and I have been saying. And TJ, I'm sure you would agree, right? We just pull funding from Ukraine. We pull funding from NATO, and then what? Ukraine can't continue the war at that point.
No,
and if
what happens then?
If we pull out from NATO, if NATO wants to go do their own thing, whatever, we're not a part of it. Don't care.
If that happens, then you know what? Europe needs to worry about their self-defense. If Russia is such a threat like they claim, let your citizens carry guns then.
Exactly.
Guarantee you Russia won't be going west.
Advocated for Ukraine to the citizens there to own guns. They're like, oh, they're being invaded. They all need to own guns now.
Oh, really?
Joey, that's an interesting point. Maybe Britain needs to be invaded to learn why the Second Amendment matters.
That's what That's what I've been saying for months. I was like, maybe they do. Maybe Europe needs Russia to start going west, so these people recognize what it means to be. They have to. They've been living in comfort for too long. They need to get smacked upside the face. I just think everything's all roses and shit. It's not the way of the world has always been like this. Yeah, that's why you have to be. What's the saying? Be prepared for the worst, hope for the best.
Yep.
Everyone wants to just hold hands in a circle and sing "Kumbaya." It's not the way the world works.
Well, because like, where do we go from here? Like, the peace talks were possible before this, but are peace talks even possible now that Ukraine is directly targeting their capability of delivering nuclear strikes? They're purposefully targeting Putin himself. Like, how do you get to peace talks when they're purposefully trying to take out your ability to defend yourself or counterattack and literally take you out directly? Like, the assassination attempt happened mid conversation for peace talks. There's no way Putin's coming to the fucking table now.
There's only one way to end the conflict now.
No, I think the only way we get out of this is escalation, and I don't want to have to report about it. I don't want to have to talk about it. We've talked about it more than enough for these past few years. It's ridiculous that it's gone on this long.
Putin, through no means of his own, is playing Trump now, because if there is eventually peace, it's the price is going to be even bigger now.
Yeah,
the only way for this conflict to stop is for there to be war or for Russia to take over Ukraine. I don't care if they do.
I don't care if they do either. The only thing I'm worried about is if we get somehow dragged into women, all our allies and shit.
I'm only worried about the Ukrainian women. That's all I'm worried about.
Yeah,
I don't care about anything else. Maybe that's what he means by rare earth minerals. He's talking about
rare earth minerals, the Ukrainian women.
Look, hey,
we can import some of them to California. There's not a lot of options here for my buddies and stuff. They need some more options out here.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Crazy, man.
Okay, so you were talking about this Supreme Court case. I have this up from NBC, NBC. So let me pull this up. I want to talk about this because I did not see this.
Real quick, final thoughts on the whole.
Sorry, yeah, no, I completely skipped over that. Final thoughts from both of you on that last story.
Yeah,
we already given enough.
I just want to say that, objectively, it is if you take away the fact that it's an escalation, the fact that we don't want war over there or something like that, and you just look at what took place, I feel like it's almost on par with the pagers and the radios exploding when Israel did that. This is a modern day Trojan horse, and I think that's, I don't know, kind of crazy and kind of interesting. And
I think
yeah, I mean that's basically the point. Is just that it is a remarkable act.
Sorry, I think the intelligence agencies are playing Trump again. There's no his reaction to that Putin assassination attempt was, that Putin retaliated was absurd. Like, why did he react that way? It was unbelievably absurd. It was just it's like this false moxie show of strength. Just whatever, man.
Well, I feel like that conflict is also at the point where it's like, well, they struck us, so we're going to strike them, and then well, they struck us, so we're going to strike them back.
Yeah,
and then,
but it sounds like Israel Palestine.
well,
And that's what Joey and I.
That's what I'm getting at. Is the
Okay,
fact,
go ahead.
yeah, it's just the fact that like there needs to be someone who's going to get hit with something, and they have to be the last one to take the hit and just be like, all right, well, like we aren't going to retaliate against that action in the name of like ending this war. Yeah. But I think it's getting to the point where neither side is willing to be that person to get punched in the face and step away. So I think
that's why Trump should wash his hands of everything and say we're not supporting anybody. You guys figure it out. And then
that's exactly how these conflicts escalate to world war, though. TJ, is one side can't concede; they don't want to look like the bitch in the situation, because whoever gets hit last is going to take a hit on the world stage. You know what I mean? Like, right, they got hit and they didn't retaliate. So
that's why I'm saying I don't think either side's going to.
No, they won't. It's just based solely on political reasons. They won't. Because political reasons from their own sides, they'll look like a bitch, they'll lose power, whatever else.
And now we're trapped in the same old deep state trap that we've always been trapped in. And now it's like different because it's Donald Trump. Apparently, it's just different because it's Trump. That's the game that they're going to play. That's how they're going to walk us further. It's Trump, so it's different.
I'm just glad that the Pakistan-India stuff didn't escalate. We were able to get that under wraps pretty quick, at least, before it got out of hand. For now, at least, until it happens again.
Huh?
What's your black pill take on that one?
What, Pakistan, India? I don't really know a lot about the situation.
Sure.
I mean, you know about that terrorist attack that happened that started.
Yeah, I know about that. We were like,
crazy.
I don't speak the
English.
English.
But that's kind of what I was trying to get at earlier when you were going on the black pill rant. Is just that like
it's not black pill? It's just the truth.
I mean, you guys were calling it a black pill rant. Come on, that's what I'm saying is like there are good things that are taking place. We're only hyper fixating on like some of the speed bumps or some of the negative things that do you get what I mean? That like you feel
I get what you're saying, but like what? So can you give us some examples? Like okay, like, white pill us a little bit, TJ. Like what are some of these good things?
Well, like okay, I would argue that like the tariffs and like putting them on and taking them off and having that like negotiations with like how many different countries are taking place like because the tariffs were put on and taken off, like that's a great thing for
it's great, but in comparison to the other things, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great. I know you got more. I'm just saying that one's in.
There is good and there is bad, right? The border crossings have
record low.
Like deportations are going a little bit slower than we would like, but there are still moves being made there. We are seeing, even if it's not as much as we want, we are seeing accountability for like politicians that are taking illegal actions being held accountable. Like
a little bit. I have another story. We'll pull up on that for Jerry Nadler.
But like, so I understand. I can agree that like things are moving slower than we would like, but I do think that good things are still happening.
So let me ask you, TJ. By the midterms, or let's say even by the next presidential election, do you believe, based on the trajectory that we are on now, that enough will have been done during the Trump administration to not have it be reversed in the next
presidential election or in the midterms?
Basically, will enough have been done by the next president that the next president doesn't just reverse it all? Because like a lot of these executive orders, and over 90% of them have not been codified.
Right. And I think that
couldn't even codify Doge.
Yeah, they were supposed to do that. I don't think they did.
Yeah, let's spend more money first before we cut our money.
Right. I mean, I've been using the quote, I use the stones to destroy the stones. Right. Yep. Like you have to get that money to like be
I
able
mean,
to
that's
take
an
action.
excellent point, though, when you say that, because I've said that about a lot of things. I asked that question on Timcast the last time I called in. At what point do we have to start using the powers that they should not have had in the first place to stop it going forward? At what
Exactly.
point does it get to the point where, like, look, they took these abilities, they took these powers they never should have had, and now they're using them against us, but now we need to pick up those same powers and use it against them to win? Are we at that
We're
point
getting
now?
rid of the abilities to use the
Yeah, in order to get rid of those powers, we now have to wield them.
yeah. That's why I use. I mean, that's the concept right there, and that's why I say you got to.
And I hate that, because it is absolutely true. It's gotten to a point where we have to use the corruption of government to get rid of the corruption of government. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
But so speaking about
anyway,
shitty government, talking about shitty government and corrupt government, let's talk about this Supreme Court story
okay,
Joey brought up.
Answer your question.
Oh yeah, you weren't finished. Sorry.
I think at the rate that we're going right now, I think that we could potentially lose the next presidential election, and a lot of these actions can be overturned. I think that there does need to be a ramping up of the actions being taken. We do need to move at a quicker pace, and I don't know. I said it. I can't remember to who, but a few weeks ago, I was saying that like we need to see the arrests happen if we're going to.
Yes, we need that visual.
I mean, we just need to show the American people that we are getting rid of the corrupt deep state government, like, and everybody who's committed crimes.
Are we though? You see Dan Bongino and Cash shit in their pants lately?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. But that's why I said that I'm giving them until 4th of July to start taking some actions, about another month. And if they don't start, making arrests on the truly corrupt, then I will begin to be a little more black-pilled and lose faith in them.
What I don't like is the excuses, because this is what happened in the previous administrations. Is they would give some basically like corporate office reason as to why some shit's not going down. They'd be like, well, there's a lot of processes and stuff we have to go through and yada yada. It's like, why? Donald Trump's the president. What processes could you possibly have? And like, I just like, I mean, what is it? How much does it take to arrest some of these people? Like, these people are like, I mean, they're basically career criminals. I mean, people get into politics to be a criminal, and then there's some of them who get in there to be righteous. And boy, is that ratio not even. People get into.
People were saying that there's going to be arrests like during the summer.
Hey, listen,
it might have been Bongino who was like, if you were a bad guy.
Look, Joey and I would love to be proven wrong on this. I'm just saying.
Oh, absolutely. Please prove me wrong.
I'm holding on to a little bit of faith.
Yeah. I did want to read this before we. Wait, I want to read this before we move on, because I love this from Sean's eye view. Sean, please tell me where you got this quote from. Great point, guys. And then he quotes, "From the forest itself comes the handle for the axe," talking about using the corrupt powers of government to destroy the corrupt powers of government.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to do that. Like the Republicans, the type of grandstanding they do is be like, oh, well, the left passed this, but, we're Republicans. We don't want to make more big government. It's like the government's already big, so we have to use the powers to get rid of the bigness. I mean, it's like it's almost like the end of Terminator 2. It's like we destroyed the enemy using the Terminator, and now the Terminator has to destroy himself. I mean, that's what it has to be like.
You can't make a big government a small government by using small government tactics.
I know. We are the fact of the matter is we are a big government. So how do we get rid of some of these overreaches in power? We have to use the power.
But that's what I'm saying is, like, a lot of these issues, right, is a lot of Republicans want that small government, so they don't use the big government powers. But the way you turn the big government into a small government is by using those big government powers, and we're not doing it.
This is where this is what people are worried about, is when you get to this inflection point of we have to use the power to get rid of power. What typically happens is, because this is, I don't want to like make a comparison for people to shit their pants or whatever, but this is basically the excuse that would happen in Germany when Hitler took power. It was, give me the power and I'm going to use the power to get rid of X, Y, and Z. And obviously that turned into what it turned into. So this is why I called in to Phil and I asked, where's the line? Because if you don't know where the line is, when you get to one of these inflection points, guess what happens is certain people go off in other directions and other people go off in other directions, and we're all disorganized and we don't know what to do. And then boom, we find ourselves in a situation we shouldn't be in because everyone's afraid to talk about the line because everyone has been trained by the media to be fearful of that big V word.
Well, so let's talk about that line a little bit, because one of my lines is the right to own firearms. The Supreme Court has now denied challenges to bans on assault-style weapons and high-capacity magazines. So we have this from NBC. The Supreme Court on Monday declined to hear two major gun cases challenging a Maryland law that bans assault-style weapons, including the AR-15 semi-automatic rifle that has been used in high-profile mass shootings, and a Rhode Island restriction on large capacity magazines. As a result, the two laws remain in effect. Litigation over similar bans across the country is ongoing, and the issue is likely to return to the justices. Absolutely fucking atrocious. The Second Amendment is clear, very clear. We always have this conversation. It's very clear. The right to own and bear firearms shall not be infringed. These laws are obviously unconstitutional.
That's why lower courts should be able to rule on them. Like, I don't disagree with the Supreme Court saying it's not our problem yet. Like, this is such a easy open and closed case that like a lower court should be able to rule on it and throw it out.
But that's the thing, that these lower courts don't want to, and I get your point. The Supreme Court's point in what you're saying is that they want a lower court to deal with it because it's a non-issue. It should be a non-issue. But
well, that's also the process.
Yeah,
like, the process is that it works its way up the chain, and like, why is someone bringing it to them already when it hasn't followed that process all the way through? And I know Joey's going to hate it because, well, how long do these processes take, right? Like we were just saying 5 minutes ago.
So Matt Stork's watching a little late, but he did want to correct you, TJ. He said the tariffs are being overturned. Only some of them are staying in your list of good things happening.
Well, they were used, and then they were like reined in, and it was a tool for negotiating trade deals.
I believe a lot of Europe and other countries now realize that the courts, like Donald Trump, doesn't have any leverage now because the courts are essentially going to side against them almost all the time.
Well, so what is the process in which? Because I'm a little retarded, right? I'm still learning things. That's why I got to ask these questions. What is the process in which these Supreme Court justices rule on these things? Like, how are these cases brought to them? Do they get to decide what is lifted up the chain, or is it just arbitrarily brought up to them? Like, how does that? Could they just pick them out of a pile whenever they want? And if that's the case, why aren't they?
So I do think that the Supreme Court should be like keeping its ear to the ground and finding things that they're like, no, that's something quick and easy.
Yeah, important cases that need to be.
Yep. Yeah, and they could just snag it up just to get it done and over with. But like, I mean, I'm not, I'm no expert or whatever, but I feel like there are people who are challenging the rulings, and they appeal it at this court. If their appeal doesn't go through, then they can bring it to the next link in the chain, and it just slowly works its way all the way up, right? Or am I incorrect in that?
No, I guess that's basically how it works. Good show today. Unfortunately, I got to go. Oh, sorry, shitty gov.
He needs to go get drunk with his neighbor.
Look, he's using my new emote instead of the Homer fade into the bushes. He's using the grandpa walks back out of the door.
Nice.
Hell yeah. But no, this is ridiculous. Like you were just saying, TJ, this is an easy open shut case. It should be. Even if it's something a lower court should or could rule on, the simple fact that it was brought to the Supreme Court, they should just be like, open shut case, bam, unconstitutional, rubber stamp. Like it shouldn't be like, oh, we're not even going to rule on it. This is something the lower court should handle.
I agree that that's what should happen, but that's not what happens. I feel like.
Yeah.
Like,
Phil's trying to be white pilled on this issue. He's like, no, they did not rule against it. They said they want a lower court to rule, but like the Second Amendment is really fucking clear. So why are they dilly dallying like this?
Yeah.
Just rule that they're allowed to sell AR-15. I mean, you can't.
Well, so if the lower court rules on it, then that would only be for these cases directly, right? But if the Supreme Court were to make a decision, that would be nationwide, wouldn't it?
Yes.
So that's another reason to have the Supreme Court do it instead of a lower court. Because I want a nationwide thing from the Supreme Court that says, "Hey, Second Amendment says this. Stop fucking putting these laws out."
And you know what? Maybe this is such an important thing that the Supreme Court wants it to go all the way through it, so that when they do lay down their ruling that it is constitutional, there's no question in the process. Everything was done by the book. They have their ruling.
But how did it get to them in the first place?
There already is no question.
But how did it get to them in the first place? Wait. How did it get to them in the first place for them to turn it down if it didn't already go through that process?
Right.
It seems like someone, skipped a step or a couple of steps going up the chain, and they brought it to the Supreme Court when
I don't know that they did. Though.
Cowardice. That's why it's complete cowardice. They don't want to have that on their hands.
That's what I think it is personally. I think a lot of the Supreme Court justices just don't want to have a ruling like that.
Kavanaugh said we're too busy.
Well, it's not even that they're too busy. I think a big part of it is that they don't want to do a big ruling on the Second Amendment or things like that because they know that if they have too divergent of a ruling from a lot of these states and these states revolt, that it'll show the Supreme Court doesn't actually have any enforcement power.
Wait. Kavanaugh's statement. Let me go through this.
Got something, Joey?
Yeah, I think Kavanaugh has a statement. I'm struggling to read it. But the gist of what I read is that.
Waiting here, Joey.
I'm trying to read it. There's all these apprentices and numbers and shit.
Send it to me or something.
Well, I'm trying to make sure it's just keep talking.
Check what Mad Stork said as well. They can.
What did he say?
They can pick them out, but they very rarely do that. They almost always let the process work.
Let the process work. Okay, but see that's interesting though. So if they can pick them out, but that's my point though. Like we have all these people in government, all these people in Congress, all these people in the Supreme Court. It's their job to do this kind of shit, and we're not seeing results. We're not seeing them do anything. Like the Supreme Court's done a little. It has been. It's probably the most I've seen the Supreme Court work in the past 8 years.
Sure.
So, but even then, they're not putting out rulings fast enough. Like we need shit to get going quicker. Like stuff is just not happening.
Yeah, I mean, there again is just being black-pilled at the rate of government. At the speed at which government takes place. You know what I mean? Like it sucks. 9 women can't make a baby in a month, and it sucks that these things take time. And we can wish and
actually, if they're that bug race from Invincible, they could.
Jesus. Now the process is slow on purpose, though. TJ is my complaint.
I mean, that's fair, and I think that maybe there should be something done to kind of expedite the process, but
streamline it, update it, modernize it. I don't know.
Yep.
Did you find what we were looking for, TJ? Or not TJ, Joey?
Wow.
But you're both up here, okay?
All right.
No, it's not. So it was editorializing, and somebody was editorial. Somebody was giving their opinion on the matter.
Yes.
And I was half groggy, and I read it, and I thought it was Brett Kavanaugh saying we're too busy. And I'm like, fucking
amazing.
I mean, he might as well be saying that shit.
Yeah.
I think that the negative aspect of this story, I mean, aside from the fact that the law is even going through, but I think it falls on the people who are appealing. Like they didn't follow the process right, so the Supreme Court shouldn't have had to say that a lower court needs to rule on this because it shouldn't have been brought to them in the first place yet.
Well, that's weird. It's not showing the top of my screen. Can you guys see that this is a Krasenstein? Brian Krasenstein.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Okay, so we have this tweet from Brian Krasenstein. MAGA is flipping out as the Supreme Court just refused to hear a challenge to Maryland's assault weapons ban and Rhode Island's law to restrict large-capacity magazines. This is a huge win for the future of gun laws in America.
Gross. A huge win, he calls it.
A huge win. And then I'm just looking at some of these. The Supreme Court is clowns. Krasenstein said, I'm pro-gun. I just think it's okay to have some restrictions on them in order to cut down on gun violence and mass shootings. That's not how that works, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Guys, if we just get rid of some of the guns...
Hey, listen, if we get rid of all of our white blood cells, we'll stay healthy forever.
Yes,
Trading
absolutely.
security for freedom.
You know what I'm happy about, though, Joey? Let's just be glad that mass shooters and gun legislators haven't figured out that shotguns are far more dangerous than anything that they've been using. I'm just saying, a 12-gauge could clear a room a lot quicker than an AR-15.
I mean, listen, but that's the issue with a lot of these issues in our world when it comes to climate change or global warming, whatever you want to fucking call it. gun issue is like you have people that speak on issues that they don't have a fucking clue about. They don't have a fucking clue.
Yeah, just because you have followers doesn't mean that your opinions are right or whatever.
Yeah,
No, that's absolutely what it means. I'm almost at 300. Joey passed 300. That's why he's in the front chair today. His opinion means more than mine, just by sheer numbers. TJ, that's why you're below me. I'm sorry. No,
You know what?
TJ, what happened in 30 seconds with TJ? I thought you were going to send me something.
You know, I'm a bit of a procrastinator. No, that was late in the week, and
TJ, that is the perfect amount. That is the perfect amount of time for a YouTube short. We can make a YouTube short series, literally just 30 seconds with TJ.
Yeah, except it's gonna be 2 minutes.
I'm gonna send it into the show, and you guys are just gonna directly upload them and like steal my.
No, it's just Tyler will make a graphic for it and everything. It'll be
I'll make the whole thing for it.
Well, we could alternate between who airs it, and then he just upload them as clips, and it'll be like a little 30 seconds of TJ, and it's just you're gonna see the minute. It's gonna be 2 minutes long.
What if Stories with Stork had a 30-second segment with TJ in it?
Stories with Stork, is that a new segment as well?
That's what the plan is with Stork. He's gonna start doing Stories with Stork, and then during his show, he can have you on as a guest, and we could have 30 seconds with TJ.
No. What's going to happen is TJ is going to go past 30 seconds, and then the two audio clips are just going to merge together, and they're just going to be talking over each other.
No, I got to edit like one of those canes to pull them off screen. Yeah. Yeah.
Have a graphic where
no, but it would be perfect because it could be like Stories with Stork. Stork could be talking about something, and then TJ could just butt in and be like, "Hang on, just give me 30 seconds. 30 seconds."
Someone said something,
and then a timer pops up.
Someone said during the after show one time, it was incredible. It was like they said, "It is incredibly important that I interrupt you right now," and I thought that was the greatest interjection that I've ever heard.
Tyler, I have a better idea. It's going to be a 30-second clock, but it's actually going to be 2 minutes. Like each second is like 3 seconds.
Each second is actually 3 seconds.
So you're like 30 seconds went by and you check you're like, wait a minute.
30 seconds of Stork, it's actually a minute 30. No, hey, that would be a hilarious bit though, TJ. We need to get you set up with like a better mic and a little bit better camera.
Well, I mean, I'm sure I would just do like a little selfie video of a quick.
Oh yeah,
selfie video works. Listen, you don't get this level of creativity from other content creators.
No. I'd watch 30 seconds. That's what she said, Allie. But anyway, okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to another story. We've got we flew through this, guys. Okay, well, we'll talk about this real quick.
For Nightcap later, where we debate.
What we're gonna
debate? Are you a fag?
No, Joey. No, bad Joey, bad.
Well, we already said the F word like 4 times already.
No, okay. Well, so Joey wants to know if being a cuck.
That's nightcap debate.
Prelude. Okay, or promo. Tonight's debate is about whether or not, by sheer fact of being a cuck, you are also a faggot. That is the conversation tonight.
Wow.
I say yes.
I say no. I think you can both be a cuck and a faggot, but by the sheer fact of you being a cuck does not make you a faggot. I disagree there.
I think it implies it almost.
I don't think it implies.
What about like if you're watching anything other than some scissoring action on the internet? Then
see, that's a good point. So
you're a cuck kind of
different though, right? Because
wait, so Joey, are you gay if you watch straight porn?
No. Listen. It's different because
that's the counter argument. That's the counter argument right there.
Let me explain why. Hold on. If you're just watching a random porn video, that's not your woman.
No, okay, wait. You're not in a relationship. I'm asking you, Joey.
Yeah, you don't have to be in a relationship to
watch porn. Anyway, this is not a YouTube conversation.
Let's wait until
this is okay. So there's your promo, Joey. So tune into Nightcap for the rest of that conversation. So I'm gonna get insanely high for that. I hope you know that, Joey.
I wish I could. Oh man, let me text my mom. I gotta see what time the store closes.
So inside a phone smuggled out of North Korea, I'm gonna play this clip real quick. It's just 1:30. I'm not gonna pause it, so feel free to talk over it.
30 seconds.
Just give me 30 seconds.
And it's 1:30.
1:30. So feel free to talk over it. I'll have the volume lower.
We've got hold of this phone that was smuggled out of North Korea last year, and it shows some of the surprising lengths the regime is now going to censor information. North Korea blocks information from outside the country, and these phones don't have access to the internet. But South Korean TV shows are being smuggled over the border to try to show North Koreans how rich South Korea is and how much freedom people have here, to try to undermine the regime. Now,
Squid
Kim Jong-un
Games.
banned these shows. And on his phone,
showed a
you can
clip for
see
fucking
he's
Squid
now
Games.
also
Look how good
blocking
South Korea
people
is.
using popular
No, they were talking about how bad North Korea is, and then showed a
Look
clip
what
of fucking
happens when I
Squid
type
Game.
in the word.
They were talking about shows and
This
stuff.
word literally
Well,
means
I
your
think
brother
I think the
in
main
Korean.
female lead in
People
Squid
here
Game
in
was a
South
North
Korea
Korean
now
defector.
use it
That's
as
why.
slang to refer to their boyfriends as
Wasn't that show
well.
from North Korea?
No, it was a South Korean show.
When I enter it,
Oppa.
it automatically changes to the word comrade. And I get this warning.
So
where
the
it says,
nickname they
"This
have
word
for
can only
boyfriend
be
over there
used to
automatically
describe your
switches to
siblings."
comrade.
Now look what happens if I type in the word for South Korea.
Imagine you try to
which is
flirt with your
Namham.
boyfriend and you're just like, yes,
It
comrade, you are very
automatically
sexy
changes
today.
it to puppet state, which is what the North calls the South. In this folder,
So,
we can
what
see
was
that the
the,
phone is taking a screenshot
What was the
every
autocorrect
5
on iPhones that people were up in arms
minutes or
about
so.
like 6 months
But
ago?
the user can't open the files.
like that.
I don't know,
Only
there's
the
been a
authorities
few.
can. So they can see when people are looking at or sharing.
Well, I think it was
things that
what
they're
was
not
it? Chat GPT recently said that Tim Pool was pointing out. Chat GPT recently said Joe Biden was the current sitting president.
Right.
So like,
well, ChatGPT also operates on like outdated information. So
yeah,
No, because that was the 4.0. That's or the version 4.0 or
yeah,
whatever.
it's supposed to be their newer
That's-
version or whatever.
It's
I mean, you
live.
can't. I'm not as worried about AI as some people because, like, when I was playing Zelda Breath of the Wild and I was trying to identify which one of the shrines that was missing because I was missing one of them, I literally took a picture of my map and then I took a picture of like a online thing where it showed you all this stuff, and I was like, "Can you identify which one I'm missing?" And it literally just made something up, and I kept arguing with it. Even after I proved it wrong, it's like, "No, there's still something there." I'm like, "No, you're wrong. There's nothing here."
Yeah, I've found that interesting too. I've asked Grok, for example. I'll ask it for like help looking for certain things in video games, and it'll outright just explain an area that does not exist. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
they call
oh,
those
that's interesting, huh?
Mm-hmm.
They call those hallucinations, right?
Yeah, it's like an AI hallucination.
So I when it was like first coming out, so you guys know I play RuneScape from time to time.
Yeah, you've been playing.
This is active on Discord 24/7, TJ.
Yeah, right?
It's open on my laptop. I'm just not on my laptop.
Yeah, okay. He puts his hand behind his head, indicating that he's lying. No.
Yeah. But I asked it for specific drop rates for what's called a Barrows chest, right?
He's like, "There's no Barrows
Dang,
chest in
you-
the game,
you
liar."
open the chest. Well, I mean, it gave me a lot of the correct answers, but it also threw in a couple of things that you're not getting from that chest. And so,
I think what it is it's like AI is programmed to give you an answer. So then when it doesn't have an answer for something, and it's like, oh shit, my programming says it needs to have an answer.
Yeah, I think that's probably correct.
like that should be so easy to code out. Like
I was telling, hang on. You would think coding is easy. It's not. Do you know anything about coding?
Yeah,
coding is
I do
coding
know
is
a
fucking
bit of
ridiculous. Is
Wait a
what
minute
coding
though,
is.
because when it's something political that they don't want to talk about, like if you ask them like, race statistics, they'll be like, I cannot answer that question. So clearly they do have the coding capabilities for AI to not give an answer.
Well, that's like censorship though. Like what we're talking about is like for it to reply every time consistently. It's like you always need to give an answer. The coding on it would be weird. It's different than forcing it to give an answer and then telling it to not answer specific topics. It's
like,
interesting.
What I would do is I would write the code so that like as soon as it like comes up with what its answer is, it's forced to like validate its answer. Like,
Well, either way, this isn't going to be an issue much longer, TJ, because we're going to have AI that writes its own coding, and then we're going to have 5 years down the line, we're going to have all these people that are supposed to be good at coding, and they're going to go in to fix something and be like, yeah, I don't understand what the fuck the coding made from the AI says it. I don't know what it says.
Everybody's just going to be a prompt engineer.
Basically, and then AI is going to write its own code. So, but I had this conversation with Melted because Melted was like, "Oh, why do game companies?" We were talking about something with game companies, and he's like, "Why don't games just add this, that, or otherwise, or like why don't they change certain things?" I'm like, I tried to explain to him, I'm like, I don't think you understand. Like coding is so insanely complicated, especially when it comes to video games. You change one line of code, and then all of a sudden, something like 3 pages away is broken. Like it doesn't make any sense. So sometimes coding is literally just guessing. when it comes to making some of these games. That's why I give a lot of leniency to a lot of these game creators, because it's like I get it. I know it's hard. But anyway, let's move on.
It also doesn't help when they hire DEI people who don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a few more stories to go into. I'm going to go into these, and then I'll send everybody over to Joey. Joey, I am likely going to go over today, Joey. Just so you know.
What? Go over where?
Go over time. Over my time.
I was like, go over.
Where am I going?
I thought you were gonna be like, I'm joining Outworld Live. I'm like, oh well, it's gonna be tightly packed today.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm gonna go have a smoke, and then I'll watch Outworld.
Addict.
Absolutely an addict. I've told you this, and I relapsed. Anyway.
What kind of girlfriend are you? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, she relapsed too. Anyway, Nick Sartori, federal authorities just announced, they said USAID paperwork is with the illegal Boulder attacker Mohammed Solomon's vehicle. So Nick Sartori is reporting this, and he said that federal authorities just announced it. I looked all over the fucking place. There's no record of what he's talking about. So I trust Nick Sartori. If it happened, if he says it happened, it likely did from wherever he got his sources. But I would like to know the contents of that USAID paperwork. Just the sheer fact of him having it doesn't mean USAID funded them or whatever the assumptions people are making in the replies. Democrats bear a lot of responsibility for this from their propaganda. He had 14 Molotov cocktails prepared for this mass murder event along with the flamethrower. Solomon told police he wanted to kill all Zionist people and wished they were all dead. He specifically targeted this group knowing they would be there. So this is from Boulder, Colorado. A suspected terror attack suspect, Mohammed Sabri Solomon, faces hate crime and murder charges. Did someone die? I thought no one died from this.
No, I think someone did die.
Someone did die. I know someone was in critical condition. So I'll pull up this article, but let's play this clip real quick. It's a minute long. So this is from Fox News on the topic.
Federal authorities releasing the charges for the man accused of setting 8 people on fire in that targeted terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. Officials say he's now being charged with a hate crime that's federally.
Yeah, she looks like a Barbie doll.
This is what they found. They found at least 14
somebody tell her about
Molotov
HD television.
on his person.
Actually, she looks like AI the way her mouth's moving.
Makeshift flamethrower. The Molotovs comprised of glass wine carafe bottles or ball jars containing clear liquid and red rags hanging out of the bottles. He made these himself. In fact, it says that he researched on YouTube how to do this. And later, during an interview with the officials, the suspect stated outright, and he's talking, he stated he wanted to, quote, kill all Zionist people and wished they were all dead. He also stated that he would do it again. Emily, he also said during this interview he specifically targeted the Zionist group that had gathered.
Joey, how the fuck are some people going to say you and I aren't professional? She's literally sitting on a couch reading off her phone.
Yeah, right? What the fuck?
I'm professional. I'm more professional than her. Look at my background.
Fox News is a whole different beast, I guess.
Yeah, they can get away with shit like that.
Oh, look, they have a fancy camera and a bunch of people of color sitting around a couch. They're
Where's that one chick that's usually on the show with the long ass fucking neck? Goddamn, looking like fucking Littlefoot's.
When you said long ass neck, I thought it was like tall white things from Star Wars at the clone factories.
Well, kind of. That's kind of how she looks. Like it's like this mulatto-looking chick. She has the short hair and she's got this fucking neck, bro. It's like this long.
So
I don't know what her name is, but I'm like, holy crap! You know she can throw it like 13 inches, bro.
So what's it called? I can read an ad, but I'm not going to read an ad for you guys today because we're talking about some serious shit right now.
No,
I've been able to read an ad the whole. I could have done the Rumble Premium ad even, but it's under $1. It's not worth it. I'd rather just keep going. So Boulder, Colorado, suspected terror attack. Suspect Mohammed Sabri Solomon faces hate crime, murder charges. So this guy went on to a college campus, and he attacked a bunch of people that were protesting the stuff going on in Israel. They're protesting the hostages and stuff like that being held by Hamas. So suspect Mohammed Sabri Solomon is now facing hate crime, murder, assault, and other charges following what the FBI called a targeted terror attack in Boulder, Colorado over the weekend. The violence Sunday against a pro-Israel group advocating for Hamas to release Israeli hostages left 8 people ages 52 to 88 with injuries, including one in critical condition. According to the FBI, police responded to the area after receiving reports of a man with a weapon setting people on fire. Literally just walked up to a group of senior citizens and set them on fire because he disagreed with them politically. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna duck out here, and I think.
Wait, final thoughts on this, Joey?
Yes, I just want to say 1775 sunscreen because you're white AF, boy. So sick of shitty ghost said. All right,
Catch
I'm gonna-
Joey on Outworld. I'll send everybody over there after this. But
Catch me
tune
on
in.
Outworld.
We're not done yet, so stay tuned.
So
You got some on this, TJ?
well, just my initial thoughts is Welcome to Summer of Love 2.0.
You think we're going to start seeing it?
I mean, we're seeing people who have been radicalized enough to take violent action, taking violent action. You know what I mean? Like, I think that this is just the beginning.
I don't. So do you think we're going to see riots? Because me personally, I don't think we're going to see riots. I think we're going to see more stuff like this. I think it's going to be targeted attacks, stuff like the Tesla stuff like this. We still need to keep in mind that there's still so many illegal immigrants in the country. A lot of them were on the terrorist watch list. So I think we're going to see more targeted attacks like this. I don't think we're going to see like mass riots or protesting.
I think we're probably going to see a little bit of both. Well, a lot of bit of both.
I'll be wrong if they can get a jumping off point. Like if there's a story that they could jump off of, like the George Floyd stuff, then yes, you'll absolutely be correct. But as of right now, from what I've seen, I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, I think that just the news cycle is moving so fast, and like so many, different. They try and latch on to one thing, and then the next thing is already happening.
Well, and to my point about illegal immigrants being on the terrorist watch list, Solomon was also in the United States illegally. So this was not just a terrorist attack, but this was a terrorist attack by an illegal immigrant.
Right. I do want to make the distinction that it sounds like he overstayed his visa, which I think is different than...
It is different, but that's also how a lot of illegal people are here.
I'm not trying to justify him staying. I'm just trying to say it seems like if this guy were to have come up through the border illegally, that sounds like someone who has come here with the intent of causing terrorism in the United States.
I don't know. I would in some ways I would actually disagree, because if he snuck in through the border and he's just been here under the radar, got radicalized, whatever, like that's fair. That makes sense. But if he's someone who's overstayed his visa, then that means he would be on record as being overstayed, and then he gets radicalized and he commits a terrorist attack. Like, I feel like it's worse in that regard that he overstayed a visa, because that means we knew about him. You know what I mean? Because if it's just like, oh, he crossed the border, maybe we didn't know about him, this happened, yada yada, right? But this is he overstayed his visa, we knew about him.
Yeah, I would have liked to see how how does the visa process work? Is there like an actual interview? I would have liked to see, what his visa application or whatever looked like, what background check was done. Like, is this someone who was prone to taking some sort of action like this, and we just just hitting the stamp on all the visa paperwork, just processing them through, and then was he radicalized before or after he got here is kind of my question.
Right. No, that's a good question, because I mean, we have that story from James O'Keefe too, talking about that guy that worked in the medical offices in Nevada. He was just rubber stamping all those illegal immigrants' medical filings. They're like, oh, you want some free healthcare? Bam, rubber stamp. Oh, you're illegal? Bam, rubber stamp. And he was just rubber stamping it for everyone. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have people like that in the immigration offices as well. They're anti-Trump, pro-immigration, don't think borders exist, and they're just bam, rubber stamping them visas.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised in the least. But no, this is absolutely tragic that this happened. Obviously, the stuff going on in Israel, I've talked about that extensively. It doesn't really need to be talked about. There's no reason for this to be justified in any shape or form. You don't go setting people on fire over something that's happening an entire ocean away from you. It's just unconscionable.
I think there's more. I think that I think that there are people out there who are hearing this story, and they're like throwing a fist up, and they're just like so proud that someone's taking action on the evil Zionist.
Yeah, going against the evil Zionist.
Right. Like, and so this is going to continue to radicalize more people to take more violent terroristic actions. And
and what even is a Zionist? Is a Zionist someone who's anti-Hamas and doesn't give a fuck about Palestine? Because I also don't give a fuck about Israel and think a lot of the shit they're doing is absolutely heinous and disgusting. So I hate both sides. Am I still a Zionist?
Yeah, I mean, it's a nebulous term that can be used to assign to someone you disagree with. I was thinking about
just like Nazi.
Huh?
Just like Nazi.
Right. I was thinking about this just the other day, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to say it or whatever, but when you spend so much time advocating for punch a Nazi and everyone gets behind it because they're like, oh yeah, the Nazis were bad people, And so, that gains momentum, punch a Nazi, and then you then begin to use the term Nazi for everyone that you disagree with. Well, now you've like by proxy advocated for violence against your political opponents.
Right.
Even if they're not a Nazi, you're calling them a Nazi, and so you've already pre-programmed people to justify violent action against them.
Well,
and I feel like the same thing is being done with the term Zionist. You know what I mean?
No, I completely agree. Okay, so let's read a little bit more here. So we have 2 more stories after this, so we'll wrap this up real quick. You're okay to stay a little longer, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we are fully aware and investigating a targeted terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. Kash Patel said, "Our agents and local law enforcement are on the scene already, and we will share updates as more information becomes available." It is interesting. Obviously, he's the director of the FBI, but it is interesting to see Kash Patel referred to in such a way after seeing him on podcasts for so many years. You know what I mean?
Sorry, say that again. I looked at chat. I'm sorry.
I was just talking about how it's interesting. I find it interesting and kind of cool to see FBI Director Kash Patel talking about how he has agents on scene regarding the attack. After seeing Kash Patel on podcasts and stuff so many years, to see him regarded in such a way is interesting.
Absolutely.
That was something that had just hit me.
And another thing that's so frustrating is like I know everybody is kind of up in arms about Bongino and Kash Patel or whatever, but like we want to see certain high profile cases get processed or whatever. But when you have radicalized people like this who are either taking action or plotting to take action, that is taking up more FBI resources and stuff like that. And so it's tough to have people, pushing around the paperwork to get the press release out for, the Epstein files or something like that, when they really have to try and stop these people from taking terroristic action on our land,
Yeah.
It's difficult.
So we'll likely get more information about this. If I find out anything about the USID paperwork that Nick Sortor was talking about, I'll be sure to update that story. But I don't really have any final thoughts. I feel like I said everything I needed to say. Did you have any more thoughts on that story before we move on?
Just that we're seeing evil persist, and it's terrible.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about Jerry Nadler real quick. So I guess we had a bunch of protests and riots over the weekend. And it looks like the Department of Homeland Security raided the Democrat representative Jerry Nadler's office, accusing him of harboring rioters. One of his aides attempted to obstruct the DHS officers by pushing them, and she ended up in handcuffs. Democrats are continuing to prioritize illegal immigrants and criminals over Americans. Frickin' ridiculous. And then let's see this clip.
No, she did not. That is not what happened.
That is not what happened.
Okay.
What?
Right. Don't push a cop.
No, I'm going to give you some.
You don't push cops.
Hey,
That's what I'm going to do.
I got you.
No.
I got you. You're okay.
I don't have to.
You're okay. You're okay.
I need to call my boyfriend.
I'm a federal officer. We're checking on something. We have the right to check. I'm giving you. I'm not resisting. Stop resisting. You harboring rioters in the office.
Hello, killing it.
So there's not a problem. Let's walk inside. Let's walk through.
For what?
Let me see what's in here. Let's go. Come on. Hold it there.
See, wasn't that hard? That other lady was able to cooperate.
It sucks that they were like so frantic or whatever, but I think the cop did a good job at de-escalation.
Yeah,
and this isn't an arrest; it's a detainment. You know what I mean? And so,
right. Well, yeah, they have. I'm assuming they have a search warrant, so let them in. Like that is what it is. They have a search warrant. I would assume.
Well,
so,
it sounds like I don't know if they saw. Let me think for a second. I don't think that they did, because that cop was asking like, "Hey, can I look in here?" And she was like, "Yeah, come on in." It wasn't saying that he had a warrant to go in there. He asked, and she said,
"Well, maybe they don't need a warrant because they were suspected of a crime. If they have reasonable suspicion that you're harboring someone, they can enter."
Right, which is I'm almost sketched out about. That's kind of borderline. You know what I mean? But he also
the things we do for safety.
Vampire law. You invited him in.
Yep. Is the alternative a choice? Never. What do you mean acidic? Oh, they're talking about it. Talking about winning. What's called and then apparently someone thumbs down my video is what Shitty Gov said, and according to Shitty Gov, that person that thumbed down my video, you eat Snickers upside down because you want to feel the veins.
Yep.
And then Acidic added onto that, yeah, they eat Kit Kats from the side. That's just terrible.
Crazy people.
Monster. What a monster. Anyway. Representative Nadler condemns Trump admin after staff member handcuffed during congressional office security sweep. Jerry Nadler criticized the Trump administration for sowing chaos in communities while announcing that a member of his staff was handcuffed and briefly detained at his New York City office last week. Federal Protective Services officers were responding Wednesday to reports that protesters were inside Nadler's office in Manhattan. At the time, a protest was taking place outside an immigration courthouse in the same facility as the congressman's office. Based on earlier incidents in a nearby facility, FPS officers were concerned about the safety of federal employees in the office and went to the location to ensure the safety and well-being of those present. The officers were led inside and came upon 4 people. Officers identified themselves and explained their intent to conduct a security check. However, one individual became verbally confrontational and physically blocked access to the office. The officers were then detained the individual in the hallway. For the purpose of completing the security check, all were released without further incident. So it sounds like this is a federal building, which means they don't need a warrant.
Gotcha.
So if this is a federal building and they're conducting a security check, yeah, they don't need a warrant or anything.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
but it's funny that like this guy's condemning the Trump administration when this is just like
it's a security check. That's if local police officers are like, hey, well, I guess it's not local. It's still kind of local. It's the local Department of Homeland Security, right? So if the local law enforcement comes and they're like, hey, we need to do a security check, we think there might be some people in here that could cause problems, you let them in. Like that's I understand. That'd be like blocking someone from a courthouse or blocking the police from a courthouse. Like, no, sorry, you can't come in, but we need to do a security check. No, sorry,
it was
come back later.
Residence or something.
Yeah, right. They're treating it like it's their residence. Like, come back with a warrant. Like, no, no, that's not how that works.
But of course, like, who was the one who was making the statements or whatever? Like in the scroll up for the video, at the very top, I think.
Oh, who's making the statements?
It said someone is condemning the Trump.
It just says a spokesperson.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's just.
But it's from Jerry Nadler's office, so just assume Representative Nadler.
Sure, it's just. Of course, they're going to take some action that took place to them, and they're going to say, "But Trump did it." You know what I mean? Just more things just to try and smear the man when he had nothing to do with it. You know?
Right. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, Trump probably didn't even have anything to do with it, to be honest. But so let's move on to this last story because I didn't have much to add on the Nadler story. It's just something to comment on. Yeah, it was interesting because it is a U.S. representative. But let's talk about how the Biden admin is accused of covering up cancer clusters in East Palestine. So this was posted just yesterday. The Biden administration is facing accusations of not publicly releasing concerning health information related to the East Palestine, Ohio train derailment, including internal warnings about the toxic burn plumes potential to cause cancer clusters. Leslie Pacey, an investigator with the Government Accountability Project, said. I don't really need to read the article. What this is talking about is it should be obvious to anyone that knows anything about the East Palestine, Ohio train derailment. Everyone after that was talking about how the long-term effects and how the areas around that train derailment are going to be affected for years, if not decades. So this coming out now being like, hey, the Biden administration wasn't entirely forthcoming in what exactly we should be cautious about here. I'm not surprised in the least. I was waiting for this. So I was waiting for the story to come out like, hey, the government didn't tell you everything that's going wrong over there. Like, obviously.
Yeah. First off, what is a cancer cluster? Is it like that? This group
it's like because of the train derailment and the chemicals that were released into the air. Basically, what a cancer cluster is it's an area in which there are higher concentrations of cancer-causing chemicals or things of that nature.
Well, is it a reference to the people, like a cluster of people who are?
No, it's in reference to certain areas that will now have chemicals that are forever like in the air or in the soil, and it causes more cancer. It's basically a biohazard, yes. So basically, cancer clusters are areas in which there are higher concentrations of chemicals that cause cancer.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and obviously because of that train derailment, a lot of chemicals were released into the groundwater, the soil, the air, They literally, it was so bad. There's pictures. I don't know if they have them in this.
Weren't people
right here? They were literally setting the air on fire because of the chemicals.
Or like the water, right?
It was the water, the air. They were burning. They were trying to burn out this chemical because it was falling to the ground and getting mixed with the soil. So I'm not, like I said, I am not surprised that this is coming out now. Like, oh, hey guys, by the way, that train derailment, yeah, it kind of caused a bunch of cancer clusters. Yeah, everyone should have knew that was going to happen.
All these people who've been living in this area, told by the government that you're going to be just fine.
They were told it would just be fine. Yep. Which they should have figured that it wasn't, because Biden didn't come out for multiple weeks. Pete Buttigieg, who was the head of transportation at the time, didn't come out for multiple weeks. They only came out after Donald Trump did.
Yep.
And everyone shat on Trump during that because it's like, oh, why are you bringing them water? And it's like, really, dude? Stupid. Absolutely stupid.
He's just using it as a photo op. No, he's going to, like, try
it was
help
big,
these people.
big photo op.
It's failing them.
I don't know that anything will actually happen from this coming to light. Maybe, hopefully, Trump can do something for these people because they really.
What is the course of action that could be taken? Like, how are these people to be held accountable?
Like the government could help relocate the people in the affected areas. The people that were responsible for the cleanup, the people that were responsible for the cover up could face consequences. Like, there's a lot of different ways you can do to get justice on this.
Straight to jail.
Be more specific with this. Like, are we talking about like the people that directly covered this up, or?
Yeah.
So if you were involved in the cover up of this, I would say at least 5 to 10 years in prison.
Sure.
I would say minimum 5 to 10 years for a cover up like this.
What would the crime be that you're getting charged for?
Failure to disclose, failure to disclose to the public. Like I don't know exactly. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the wording, but basically failure to disclose danger to the public.
Sure.
That's like if a fire is raging and you know it's happening, yet you have the ability to put out the distress call, and you're like, fuck it. Like, you should be held accountable for not putting out the distress call when you knew there was a fire.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting. Like, I don't know if there is some crime on the books that these people could be charged for their negligence.
I think there's something you could definitely find. But anyway, TJ, let's get those final thoughts. We did go. We went what, like 20 minutes over almost.
Yeah,
pretty good. Let's send everybody over to Joey though. So let's get those. I'll put you on your solo screen. You can get your follow. There you go. All right, let's get your banner up. Where's your banner? Where's the banner? I'm slow. What if I just put up Mad Storks instead of yours?
Dude, that'd be so fun. Yeah, follow me. We'll yell at leftists together. It was good to be back after taking like a week off or whatever. It was good to kind of sit with you and go over the current happenings. I always appreciate your perspective. Always good to, have some back and forth when we disagree on some things. So, yeah, it was fun. Appreciate you having me. I'll see you guys around.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm just glad that we could get 30 seconds with TJ at the end there. So
that was actually 30 seconds, huh?
That was about 30 seconds. So again, I'm glad we could have TJ on. I'm sorry we took that break, but I'm pretty sure TJ will be on again tomorrow. TJ, if you want to pop in and clarify.
I should be free tomorrow.
Be free tomorrow. So
schedule isn't too upside down.
Okay. Well, yeah. If anything, he could always join late too if he wakes up too late. But thank you guys. That was a great show today. I'm glad we can go over a little bit. There was so much news that happened today. Stuff that I still didn't even cover. So we'll be covering that tomorrow. You guys can check me out later tonight. I'll be playing Helldivers. And I don't know if anyone will be joining me for that, but maybe Acidic if you're around later, if you want to play some Helldivers. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and send you over to Joey Cannoli. Let's get you guys going over to there. Peace out, guys. Have a good one. Go have some fun over there on Outworld Live. Like, share, follow, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys later if you come check out the game stream. Peace out, guys. Sending you over to Joey now. Confirm raid. Raid has been confirmed. Goodbye. Where's the outro? Thank you guys so much for tuning into the video today. If you thought that was a great video, great live stream, great whatever you were watching, make sure you hit that like, thumbs up, whatever you're watching, hit that follow, subscribe, and if you really want to support me, you could always share the video and comment down below. But thank you guys so much. Make sure you follow on Rumble, YouTube, and X. Thank you, and peace out.